hi one and all, welcome to Power Osteopathy How-To series. So you've been out on a ride and you've been unlucky enough to get a puncture. If you're lucky enough like me to get home, get it up on the work stand, ready to work, so with that bending over. If you're out on the street and it happens, oh my god, flip the bike over, get it up on its seat and the handlebars and you can start work. The most important thing to do, that you have to do, always do this, always make sure you have a cup of tea before you start any work on your bike. Even if you break down the side of the road, send one of your friends off to go and get you a cup of tea. This is the most important thing. I did a 300k ride the other day. Absolutely amazing. The video is down below. Got back, didn't realize I had a puncture until the next day, so I was very lucky. Get it up onto the work stand. If you're going to work on the bike and you know you're going to have to take the rear wheel off, it's important to get the chain into the smallest cog. So you'll come over to your shifter, just shift it down. You know how to get it into the smallest cog. There you go. Once you get the chain over onto the smallest cog, this way as you take the wheel out, the derailleur is already out of the way and the wheel will come out of the drops a lot easier. So always get it into the hardest gear, which is the smallest cog. The other thing is, if you're running caliper brakes, be sure to disengage. You pull your lever down and it just allows the pads to move away from the rim. Something I always do myself, even if this is at the side of the road, go around and just visually check the tyre first. Nothing worse than going through the whole thing of changing the tube and all back on, only to not check the tyre and there's a pin, a thorn, a bit of wire stuck in the tyre. 20 metres down the road you get another puncture. Don't spin it and put your hand on it. If there's a wire or a nail or a piece of glass, it goes straight in your finger. Unenjoyable. You can use the back of your nail bed and sometimes you'll feel something sticking up. In this instance, I've already marked where I got the puncture with a little piece of chalk or something. It's normally in the inner tube repair kit. I do that just so I know to come back to check that part of the tyre as well. It's also nice to save time at the side of the road. If I know the puncture is here and the valve is here, I know once I take the inner tube off to check definitely whatever that distance is, both sides, to see if that's where the puncture was. My other top tip would be, don't assume it's one puncture. Always keep, if you find one puncture, inflate it, retest it again, because sometimes you can have 2 or 3. So I've seen that it's there, I just marked it, I've undone the brakes, come down, undo my quick release skewer, we've got the chain in its smallest cassette, slightly disengage the derailleur here, it'll drop down, out, and take the wheel away from the derailleur. Don't take it into the derailleur, you'll bend it over. And then you're ready to start work on the bike. My tip that I do is I would just tighten this up again, just in case it falls off because you've over loosened it. Come round, remove the valve cap, depending on what type of valves you've got. These are always get muddled up, I think it's Presta. You're just depress it, make sure all the air's out of there. Sometimes it's only a slight puncture, so there's still air in there. If you don't take all the air out, it's very difficult to take the tyre off. If you have the other type of valve, like what's on a car, you can use either your nail or the tyre lever, or on some of the backs of the valve caps, you can push that into it gently and you'll hear the air coming out, okay? So we'll just pop that aside, pause for a cup of tea. Okay, so we're just gonna leave that there a second. One of the big things with people with trying to repair a tyre is they think it's very complicated and involved and you need all these tools. You don't need all these tools. You simply just need your puncture repair kit. The most important thing is going to be your tyre levers. You should have in here, you've got your pump, you've got your repair kit, you've got good tyre levers, and you've got a tube. My advice would be always carry a tube. I put a little bit of Velcro around here to stop it splaying out in the bag so I can get more in there. My other top tip would be, don't cheap out on tyre levers. These are acrylic ones, they're a lot stronger. If you get the cheap plastic ones, when you need them most, you'll realize why people spend a bit more money on them. At the very minimum, you need tyre levers, tube, pump. That's it. You don't need anything else. If you don't want to carry a tube, you need pump, levers, and a patch kit. And in the patch kit, you'll have some patches of different sizes and some rubber solution glue. Sometimes they'll come with a little crayon to mark where the puncture is. Sometimes they'll come with some chalk, but at minimum you need to carry rubber solution glue and patches. Don't use spoons, don't use anything metal. It'll scratch and damage your rim. Use plastic acrylic levers, don't use metal. It'll scratch it, will scuff it, and you risk damaging the tube as well. So you're just going to take the splayed up side, it looks like a fin, not the hook side. Okay, and you're going to place it on the ground. You've got your tyre levers, you're going to use the fin side, not the hook side. Again, don't cheap out on these are good quality ones made in England. You're going to come down to your tyre, pull the tyre just gently into the midline. Midline is where the spokes are, and you already see the lip of the tyre here. That's what you want to try and get the fin underneath. So you're just going to gently ease that underneath it. Little wiggle side to side, and bingo. You've removed the tyre away from the wheel. Move it along. You can push away or towards, and this is where the hook part of the lever comes in handy. You simply hook it behind the spoke. Have this as straight as possible. Don't have it on an angle or it will ping out. Then you come back, you get your next tyre lever. I always say 2 or 3. Have one just in case. Move the tyre around. This depends what type of tyre you're running and how tight the tyre fits. I always try and come along 1, 2 spokes. Again, leave the tyre over. Find the lip. Get it under there gently. And then hook again. It's already, at this point, you're probably okay to not even go with a 3rd lever. But 1, 2, midline, under, find the lip of the tyre, gently lever it over. They'll come out. That's pretty much easy now to remove. And you can even do it with your fingers. I would suggest keep using the lever, because if you've had a sidewall pinch, if you're off on the gravel or a bit of wire's got on the side, you run your hand under it and you get it in your finger. Use the tool. Get it under there, slide it around, bring the wheel to you, go all the way around, and that's it. You're going to want to use these again, pop them to one side, you won't need them again. Come back to where your valve is, gently lift up the tyre. You're going to grab the inner tube by the valve stem, gently push the inner tube up towards the tyre, lifting up. And then you can pull the whole apparatus away and over, off. That way you don't risk bending this or the valve. Pull it away, and then you can hold here, firm grip, and gently push the tyre away. And that's it. There's no brute strength. Don't push, don't pull on anything too much. If you've done it right and correctly, it's not too much. I'm just going to pop this to one side. Use this time to check the rim tape, just in case. Sometimes it's shifted and moved around, depending on what type of riding you're doing. And if the rim tape is, this is a new bike, so the rim tape is fresh, so there's no where the nipple of the spokes has come through, it hasn't worn through. Older bikes, the nipple eyelet here can wear through the rim tape, and you could get a puncture from under the inner tube. So just run your finger around it and just double check it's all okay. Visually inspect it as well. Another one if you're gravel riding is just check the outer part of the rim here and make sure it hasn't had a flake of metal, aluminium. Inspect it, no problems there. Pop it up against something you know is not going to fall. Come back to your tyre and your inner tube. Remove the inner tube. This is the most important thing I would say is go around on the inside and you can splay the tyre out. So I want to visually inspect all of this. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and check it. So I'm making sure that there's no little bits of wire or shards of glass that have come through. You can tell the riding surface and the sidewall surface, different materials. For experience, I've learned just take an extra couple of minutes. Check the other side. There's nothing worse than going through all of this, getting all dirty and grubby, and then 2 minutes down the road, or the tyre just doesn't pump up. So I'm feeling confident that there's no shards in that at all. So the tyre, we're okay. Tyre's okay. Safely put that to one side. Now get your inner tube. And again, you can just go through it. I'd already marked on the tyre, if you remember, that I thought there was a hole of roughly 6 to 8 inches one side. So I can go through, and sometimes you'll visually see the hole. And then you can go over with your thumb as well. You will often see little shards sticking out of it. All right, so that's that. So I couldn't see where the hole was. So if you're at the side of the road, this is where having a pump is a good idea, not an air canister. If you were looking at repairing it, you'd have to pump it up, listen and feel for where the air's coming out. That's an air canister gone. If you've got your pump, that's fine, and you're not throwing anything into possibly landfill. Side of the road, we're going to replace the tube now. For this video, I want to show you how to patch it. If you had a spare tube, this is where you would just simply replace the tube. You'll catch up with this video later on. One of my top tips is some of these Velcro attachments to stop the tube splaying out in your bag, and you can really compact it down. My other amazing tip is keep some old rim tape, or even a heavily used inner tube that you were going to throw away once you've had maybe 10 or 12 flats in it, and fold it over the valve cap to protect it. Thereby, I've removed the cap, but it would stop the valve cap keep rubbing and working its way into the inner tube. So it's just another layer of protection, and that way you know when you really need the tube, it's not flat when you're putting it on your bike. I repair them and ride with repaired inner tubes. That's more environmentally friendly. You should be good, 12 to 15 repairs, no problem. Alright, so we're going to move into repairing this one. So we're at home, so lucky enough we used the track stand. So make sure you got your valve out, pop it in, okay, and start pumping. I would say if you can, try and keep the inner tube off the ground. Go through all of this, and then sometimes when you start doing it, you'll immediately hear the hissing of the flat. Okay, so it's good. Take it out, I can already hear it. I'll bring it over to the camera. Hear that hissing away. Sometimes you can't, so what I would do, this is where the little yellow crayon comes in handy, and simply put a cross right over it. Now it might sound obvious, but make sure the center of the cross is on the hole. Don't draw a circle around the hole. Once you put the rubber glue on, it starts to move the crayon, and you can miss where the hole is. So make sure you get the center of the cross over the actual hole. Now I know as long as the patch is over that center point there, we're good. Don't ignore the rest of the tire. Still go around eye, listen, also feel. If you have a bucket, you pump the tire up, and you would pass it through the bucket of water, and you would look for bubbles. All right, so I'm pretty confident that's the only one. At this point, let the air out. All right, so the air is completely out. Now, make sure the air is clean. There's no grease on it. There's no oil on it from your bike chain. You can do it with your t-shirt, a rag, whatever. Just make sure it's reasonably clean. Some patch kits will give you a little bit of sandpaper. You can go over it and rough it. Miraculously, it doesn't seem to rub off the crayon mark. So what it does, it just roughens the rubber surface and allows the adhesive somewhere to attach to. Get rid of it. This is where you get your rubber cement. Don't skimp on this part. Really put it on there. All right, so good. Make sure you seal that good and tight because you can keep using it. And then depending on what patch, what size, which should be good for this size hole, fine. For bigger holes and tears, you can have these ones. Now the key with this is don't rush putting the patch on when it's like that. This is the patience part. Leave this until it's really tacky. So it can take between 2 and 5 minutes. Don't rush it. If you put it on when it's still, put it on once it's tacky. So So yes, again was pretty good. Oh, okay, you're back already. So 5 minutes has passed. So what we're looking for is this pearlescent color around the side. Can't stress it enough. Don't rush this point. Got your patch ready. Comes with a little plastic part and a little silver foil part. Just gently tease them away from each other. Try not to touch the orange shiny surface of the patch. That we need to try and keep clean. Good. Apply it. Now this is where you know exactly where the puncture is, because you can still see where the two lines meet, and you want the black part on this side to go right over that. Okay, so you're gonna line it up, pop it on, and squish it. You basically now will hold it there. Try and keep it, just gently depress it out from the center outwards. A firm pressure, but remember, you don't want to move all the cement out of the space. You just want to make sure that it goes around all the edges. There we go. All right, so we're going to take another tea break and we'll leave that on there for about another 5 minutes. No, I have read the Armstrong. Oh, you're back again already. The patch has been on there. We're in Guelph, Canada at the moment. It's quite humid here at the moment, so the cement took a little bit longer to dry. You can just go around it and just check it. Then what you do is start, pull the plastic away. Sometimes this outer portion of the orange part of the patch will come away a little bit. Not a massive concern. You can gently tease it down. Hold the patch and gently pull the plastic sheet around, and gently just any of the orange grippy stuff that's coming away with it, just gently pat it back down. It's not the end of the world. Just check it. All looks good to me. It's all on there, not moving around. And it's good to check again. So you come back over to your pump. Remember to put that plastic in your recycling. Don't just throw it on the ground, even if you're out and about. Pop it back in, engage the pump, and start inflating. Don't over pump first of all. Just check it, and what you'll start to see is the orange part is gripping. That's all nice. That's staying put. And you can just carry on pumping it up. Good. Disengage, remove, protect the valve stem. There you go, we have it patched. All the oranges are adhered nicely, it's not overstretched. Visually check it, you can if you want. It might not be very, okay, just visually check it, you can put it near your skin. Go back around the tyre, the tube rather, and check again. If you are at home or you're out and about and you have the ability to test it underwater, do test it. I find it's one of the most reliable ways. I've got my bucket here. You fill it up, make sure it's good clean water as well, and you simply place the inner tube in it, and what you're looking for are bubbles. And don't rush through it. Get your puncture, the bit you've just repaired, hold that under there, no bubbles. So you know your puncture repair is good, so there's no need to double check it. Alright, with the water, if you're at home, give the plants a drink. We'll use it then to wash the bike, don't waste it, let the air out. My tip would be, don't put the tube on the ground. Try and keep everything off the ground as much as possible. Then you're going to have the fun task of putting the tube back in the tyre and back on the bike. So, my way of doing it, pop it in, gently just let it seat and find its way in the tube, in the tyre. Oh, it's playing along. Check that it's, when you put it in, that the tube doesn't go in twisted. Don't rush it, take your time. You're going to get your wheel, and you're going to find the eyelet where the valve goes through. I find working eyelet up, eye to eye, works well for me. Come round, hold your valve, let it drop. Then you're going to let the wheel, your tyre will have a direction of tread. This is a completely slick tyre, but if you go around on the outer edges here, we'll see if this one has one. It might do. Depending on what way your tread is patterned, on the side will be a little arrow. Or just double check the other side. It doesn't have a direction. The other one is, rule of thumb is, where the wording is and the direction the wording goes in. That's normally the direction of the tread. Some will even have the wording on there with a little arrow attached. All right, so we've got a valve, valve eyelet, let the wheel sit, come back and just double check you are putting it on the right way. So there's the cassette, on my right side, valve there. Okay, so that's all going to go in there, so that's fine. Sit the wheel on the tyre there, whoop, and then let it glide in. Get your valve, let it go in. Now I'm going for this edge to sit in this side of the rim first, and then just gently walk it in. Now I'm just gently with my finger pads here, pushing and levering it over the rim. So on this side, with the tyre here, I'm pushing it up and over the lip. Pushing it up and over the lip. Okay, little bit of finger strength, not the end of the world. And then on this side, it would look like, here it comes, bump, over the, perfect. My other top tip, they're in, and your tube's in, nice, valve is there, and it's nice and straight, it's not crooked. Okay, this is the only bit now, it's going to need a little bit of finger strength. The key here is try not to, as you push it on, some people rush it, and they'll grab a bit of the tube, and as they push it in, that's the tube, they'll pinch the tube on the rim. Do make sure that the rim, the inner tube is in, okay? And then just gradually hold in, push down. Squeeze in, push down. And work your way around. Now, something that happens a lot when you're doing this is, as you're pulling the tyre on and over the rim, thumbs on this side, and you thumbs here, grip here, gently just pull it over and it will sit. Sometimes what happens is as you're doing this down here, it's coming off the rim and you'll be there a very long time. So come round, gentle grip, pull, lever, check there's no pinch, and it's in. Go round, hold, pull over, pinch, it's in. You'll start to hear some like a snapping clicking sound. It's obviously as the tension here builds. Grip, hold, pinch in. This is the most critical area, I think, is here around by the valve. You can gently just encourage it down, hold, pinch, and it's in. So see there, I know 100% that tyre is sitting in the rim housing. Hold, grip, in. Now you start to get a little bit of finger strength is needed. There, some people will use the tyre levers here as well. You can do. Now, that's all nicely in. Now, I would say go back around and just gently push the tyre down. And what it does is, on the rim, there's a lip, and on the tyre, there's a lip. As you push the tyre down, it'll just let it sit in it, and it will grab it. Okay, there we go. So that's all nice and neatly in there. Okay, good. All right, that's your tyre on. You've done your inner tube repair. You've got the tyre back on. Pump it up. I recommend pump it up off the bike. Give it another minute just to double check everything. Otherwise, you put it on the bike, you have to take it all off again. You've got your track pump, or you're at the side of the road. Make sure the thread is out. Valve on, hold, push, clip. Okay, that's it, fine. And gently pump it up. If you're not sure about the tyre pressures, around the outer edge of the actual tyre on here, it'll give you the minimum and the maximum pressures. Stop about halfway, disengage, and check. Make sure you've got no bulges and that the tyre hasn't worked its way off of that rim hook that we were talking about. Just visually check it. Good. This bit will be open to debate. Leave a comment and criticism down below if you want, but remember it's your personal choice. Now let the air out. So you've pumped it up, you've let it all sit nicely. My personal belief with this one is it allows the tyre to really engage with that hook. The inner tube's found its natural path in the tyre. The valve has sat nicely. Then just simply repump it. Hold again, push in, and away you go again. You go up to, I run mine at 80. There's a lot of new evidence in the road cycling community that running them at the full higher pressures does not make you any faster. Move that aside. Okay. Come back, tighten up your thread, finger tight, get your cap, place locally, come back round, check, double check, finger tight, pop on, finger tight again, and again, just go around and visually check it. Just make sure. Okay, one repaired tyre, ready for the reinstallation. So you know you've already had this on the smallest sprocket. Just loosen it off a little bit. Remember, these do have springs on them, so don't undo it and you drop a spring. Okay, there you go. Now, check your brake lever, arm is still on disengage. Bring the tyre up. Let's see if we can do it without getting our hands dirty. Here, pull on the back of the derailleur. Now you know you need to get that chain on that sprocket. Alright, so I play a little game myself to see if I can get it on there without getting dirty. It's not going to happen. Pull the arm of the derailleur down, sit it on it. It's in it. Pull that one away. Okay, first time you don't succeed, try again. Get it on there. Gently roll the wheel up. So I'm moving my arm up. I'm rolling the wheel into the bike. Roll in. Gently just move that. Pull the derailleur arm down. Hold on the skewer. And you need it to sit neatly in the eyelets of the dropouts here. Okay. And up it goes. Alright. Finger tightness with this one. Pull the lever down. Finger tightness. Disengage. Tighten it up a couple of turns. It's in there. Lock it out. Too much mark. Loosen it off a tad. And that's in. Gently check it. Spin away from yourself. That's fine. Re-engage the brake with that lever. Boom. That one there. Gentle spin with the crank. We're doing little to little, so we get that out of the big, get it back up and out of the way. Good. Spinning nicely. It's all in there. And that, my friends, is how you fix a flat. So again, remember, take your time with it. Don't rush it. I didn't get really that grubby. Most of it was through showing you how not to do it. Don't pull and push on the derailleur. It doesn't like it. Big tip, get it over into the small cassette, small cog of the cassette at the back. That way you've got the derailleur out of the way and you can practice, hopefully not too much so you get lots of punches. You can practice putting the wheel on and off without getting greasy. The other thing that people always miss, and you see them trying to force things out of the way, is if you've got caliper brakes, disengage it. If you've got disc brakes, you don't have that mechanism, so you don't have to worry about it. But when you put your wheel back on, your disc is here, your pads sit here. Make sure, it sounds obvious, but make sure you can visually see that lining up with a disc going between the pads, not abutting onto either pad. And the other big one, if you're running hydraulic discs, don't let anyone be sitting there pumping away on your brakes with no wheel in it, because the hydraulics will force the discs together and you won't be able to get your wheel back on. So I always say it's always nice after a little repair, finish with a mighty fine cup of tea and a bit of chocolate. Until next time, friends, stay well.
Carbs for the win! Spinners are winners!